Why did Diana bring me home? Was this an illusion? Was I being tricked? Something was going on. I sat up in bed looking around me. This was indeed my room. There was no mistake about that. Why? Diana is too strange. What was this? Was this a game? Was this part of her plan to get the boys back? I was lost and confused more than ever, despite my logical thought trying to piece the puzzle that is Diana together. The more I tried to solve her, the less I understood about the situation I was in. I was interrupted, however, by my door suddenly opening, revealing the boys with Damien's hand on the doorknob.
Miss, what are you doing here?
Aren't you supposed to be in school?
I furrowed my eyebrows and stared at Damien, asking him to answer their questions through my thoughts.
Diana sent her back here. She invaded her school and sent all the students back home.
What is that bitch up to? Seriously! Diana's playing around for no reason.
Maybe it's part of her plan.
The boys continued to argue back and forth about Diana, fueling an almost jealous curiosity in me. Damien seemed to be too deep within the talking to notice my thoughts, or he didn't even stop talking alongside his brothers. Why was Diana after them? Why did she want to bring them back? What was so important about the boys that she could travel to the human world to get them? What was going on? Bye, Phoenix. Have a good night. I decided enough was enough. I needed answers. Hey! The boys stopped arguing, staring at me in surprise. I held my hands and fists on my lap, mustering the courage to continue to speak despite my abrupt shout. Why is Diana here? Why does she want to bring you all back? What exactly did you all run from? Why did you run from it?
Miss,
No, don't miss me! Please! I need to know what's going on. I won't be left in the dark about this. I want to know what I am facing. The boys looked at each other hesitantly, unsure of how to reply. Finally, Sam pushed Damien towards the bed, making him buckle and land on his knees with his torso over the edge of the mattress.
Damien, do the thing.
The thing? What thing?
Sam, you're not suggesting.
Why not? She deserves to know everything, especially if Diana is targeting her.
Sam's right. I guess we have no choice then.
I was getting confused. What was Damien about to do? Damien stood before climbing onto the bed with me, sitting across from me on his knees.
We're going to show you everything. You have to trust me, okay? The minute you stop trusting me, the vision will stop.
Vision?
You want to know, right? Trust her.
I looked at Sam, unsure of what was going on, but I nodded. If this was the only way to learn, then this was my chance to know. Damien gently placed his hands on each side of my head, pressing his thumbs into the skin above my eyebrows. I could only stare at Damien as his eyes began to glow gold and energy began to be both pulled out of me and forced into my head. Within seconds, my vision went black once again. I was unsure of what Damien was doing, but soon shapes and textures slowly began to appear around me. I found myself sitting on a stone floor in the middle of what looked like a fantasy throne room. Where am I? I looked down at myself to stand, only to see my body as translucent as a ghost. Wah! I jumped up and inspected my hands in sudden panic. I was see-through! Why? What was going on?
How dare they try to negotiate with me? Do they not know whom they speak to?
I gasped and ran behind a nearby pillar from the voice. The sound of his anger and words frightened every bone in my body, turning me into a frightened child.
My lord, please calm yourself. Calm? They're merely testing my resolve. I have more than half of a mind to send my greatest armies to take what should be mine. They are mere insects in the way of my kingdom's expansion.
They merely asked for a marriage joining.
So I'm to bow to them and share my land that I have so rightfully conquered?
I peeked from behind the pillar to see a large demon covered in royal clothes, but buff enough to be a military commander. His rage practically emanated from his body as he growled at his servant.
They are willing to give their land to you, sire. All they ask is for one of your sons to marry their daughter, whom I might add is as beautiful as can be.
This is ridiculous! To suggest that I need their approval to take their land is beyond insanity. What makes them think I care about their precious daughter?
Did I mention that she is a prodigy of her kind, sire?
A prodigy?
Yes, my lord. This succubus is a master of her skills in magic and mind manipulation. She is said to sway armies with a snap of her fingers, despite being as young as she is.
Impossible!
If only it were, sire. This succubus is dangerous, but would be a great asset to have should we agree to this arrangement. The only reason she cannot phase you, my lord, is because you are the strongest demon in the plains.
Is this supposed to change my mind?
Yes, my lord.
Is this supposed to change my mind? Yes, my lord.
You are doing a terrible job at convincing me.
My apologies, sire.
I was lost. I could tell that they were talking about Diana, but why?
Father.
I quickly turned my head to see another demon, who looked like a mere child, staring at the demon commander on the throne. Father?
Raystrow, have you finished your training?
Yes, Father.
Then what do you want?
I want to be with my brothers the best of the day, Father.
The demon commander walked to the young demon and gripped his hair, picking him off the ground and forcing him to look up at the snarl. The young demon, however, looked unfazed.
Arrogance. Why should I allow you to be with them? I should kill you for your lack of respect to me.
Because I want to be with them, Father.
I could only stare as the young demon faced his father, despite the massive difference between them. This young demon seemed weaker and easy to kill versus the demon commander. Why would this man kill his son, though? Was this commander that ruthless? However, I wasn't expecting him to laugh and release the young
Good! Assertive even in the face of danger. That is why you are my favorite son.
I could only stare wide-eyed as the commander placed his hand on the demon's shoulder.
Very well. Go. Tomorrow, you will show me your training.
The little demon grinned wildly before running off.
I have a thought.
Yes, my lord?
How old is this daughter?
As old as your 5th, sire.
Do you believe this proposal is worth it?
Yes, sire.
Tell those insects that they are safe for now. I will consider their offer.
Sire, are you certain?
Did I stutter? Now go!
The demon servant quickly ran off, but as soon as he passed the pillar I was hiding behind, he, along with the commander, vanished into thin air. What the? What had happened? I didn't get the time to try and figure that out before a demon who looked around my age walked into the room reading a book. Is that?
Raystrow, your nose is stuck in those books. Will you not lift your head up from them once in a while?
Yeah. She's around Damien's age, yes. That voice. I circled around the pillar to see a second demon leaning against another pillar and smirking at Raystrow.
Aren't you supposed to be with your mother practicing the harpsichord?
I am, but I had a feeling that you were in danger.
In danger? What are you...
Attack!
All of a sudden, three shadows zipped through the room and slammed into Raystrow.
Oh, I got a kitty! I got a kitty! What? I love you, my baby. I love you, my baby.
Kitty break! All of a sudden, three shadows zipped through the room and slammed into Raystrow, forcing him to fall to the ground and drop his book. As the sight cleared for me, there were 3 other demons in a dog pile with Raystrow at the bottom.
Hit? Ah! No way! You haven't had a break in months from those stupid butts. It's time for punishment!
Death by brotherhood! No more reading!
I told you that you were in danger.
I suddenly knew who these demons were. It's the boys. Even in the demon world, their brotherly connection was astounding. They were merely younger versions of themselves. One of the demons, who I assumed was Matthew, grabbed the book from the floor and opened it, reading it mockingly.
How can you read this, Raystro? It's all about war strategy. It's boring.
I have to, Zakaru. Get off! There's only one thing you need to know about strategy. Kill them all. Take no prisoners.
If I remade this game, we will get the young boys! I will have the artist paint the boys as babies, as the young boys. Only if I ever get to remake this game. I promise. Everything you all want, I will listen to the community. I will listen to everything that you all want and add it if it ever gets remade. And that includes the young boys to see the babies.
You sound just like father.
I couldn't help but giggle. It was cute to see them acting childish with each other. Eventually, James managed to push his brothers off of him and stand, brushing himself off.
You all are reckless. At least we have fun.
It's true. You haven't been with us in weeks. Don't you think it's time for a break?
I'm sure Father won't mind.
But I have to...
I know you want to, Restro.
Damn it.
What is going on here?
I shot my head to the voice to see the commander, aged a little, staring at the boys with his arms across his chest. Damien quickly dashed and hid behind Sam, peeking over his shoulder to see the large commander.
Nothing is going on. We just passed by each other.
I will never do Kickstarter ever again. So just so you all know, Kickstarting is not an option.
Then why does your brother have your book?
I was showing him what I was learning, Father.
Return to your studies, Raystrow. The rest of you out of my sight. Do not disturb your brother again.
I could only stare as James gently took his book and, without looking at his brothers, returned to reading. The commander walked past the remaining brothers, growling at Sam and Damien before leaving the room. What was up with that?
Don't worry about it. We'll find a way to get him back.
I don't know. He's on a very tight leash.
How do I imagine the boys looking as children? Their demon forms only smaller, horns tinier. Baby face. Oh, they have demon forms. And no, I don't.
Ezreal, you're quiet. What did you hear? He's going to a negotiation meeting. He's going to arrange a marriage.
A marriage? For who?
It must be for one of us.
He hasn't decided who will marry her. It's a girl from a kingdom he wants to take over.
But that's uncharacteristic of him. Usually he'd just attack with the army.
Whatever the case is, one of us is getting married.
Damien has bangs.
I hope it isn't me.
What about Restro? He's the eldest.
It would make sense, but having a succubus marrying one of us means that she'll be practically married to all of us.
Well, what should we do?
Before the conversation could continue, the boys vanished into thin air, fading into different colored mists. They were replaced by an older Damien and Matthew, sitting with each other in the middle of the throne room.
Do you think we should?
I really want to.
I want to as well. Still, it'll be hard to convince Raysturo, since he's the one about to be married, and he's the favorite.
We don't know that, Zakeru. Maybe she's set to marry you.
I doubt Diana would want to deal with all 5 of them. She could, though. She could handle all 5 of them, just saying. Giggity.
No way! I don't want to get married.
I don't think you'll have a problem with that baby face of yours.
I looked over to see Sam join the duo, crossing his arms and raising an eyebrow at his brothers.
What are you two talking about?
We got into contact with the human world again.
Come on, Ezreal. You give humans too much attention.
No way, you gotta listen. They apparently have stores and books and schools and stuff.
Can I get a little bit of that? Sorry, I'm gonna steal some. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's a little rummy.
It's for you anyway. Yeah. They're gonna be the background slurping. That's me eating ramen.
So what? It's full of humans who piss on each other for no reason. They're no better than the devil spawn.
Nuh-uh! The one we were talking to wasn't like that.
How do you know, Zakeru?
Because I do!
What is going on here?
They want to go to the human world.
The human world?
Raysturo, think about it. You won't have to marry that girl and be the heir anymore. You could be with us, and we can make lives for ourselves in the new world.
I want to.
Now you're just talking nonsense.
I want to see. Want to see those handlebars?
I vote that we do it.
Huh? Oh, not you two.
Think about it. This may be our chance to finally get away from this political nonsense we're stuck in. We may be nobles, but we're still our own beings.
Restro is in.
What? Ezreal!
Whoa! So how do we get there?
Are you kidding me? You don't even know how we'd get there.
A simple spell should work, but it would require someone from the human world to help us get there.
We can ask him.
Oh, he'd definitely help us.
I'm not so sure about...
Raystrow, aren't you tired of pleasing Father all of the time?
I am, but...
If you stay, you'll be married off and become ruler of Father's kingdom. You'll have no time for yourself or with us, And you'll be constantly at war with the other realms for power. You'll most likely turn into the spitting image of Father.
What he's saying is, get your head out of your ass and let's go. If you don't say yes, I'll drag your princely ass with us. I don't care what that bastard of a father wants.
Come on, Raizero!
All right, let's do this. What's the plan?
I couldn't believe what was happening. I was seeing the history of their lives before my eyes. They were nobles, and James was the heir to the kingdom the commander ruled. Even more so, he was going to be married to Diana. They sacrificed everything to leave and be together. They'd rather be free than remain in their noble roles. I started to feel a little jealous. They were able to leave while I was still expected to be what my father wanted me to be. How they were able to leave was uncertain still, but I knew I would learn in time. I closed my eyes and mentally asked Damien to end the vision. As soon as I asked, the world around me slowly vanished, and I was brought back to the bedroom where I sat with my head nestled in Damien's hands. My vision began to clear, letting me fully see the boys around me, all with concerned faces.
So, you now know exactly who we are.
Diana is the girl you were arranged to marry?
Not anymore. Once we left, the arrangement was broken. With no sons to marry off, her dad couldn't go through with the marriage deal.
If Diana is here for us, that means she's trying to save her kingdom from being attacked.
That's not true. She wants to rule our kingdom. Having one of us will give her the right to our kingdom as much as we'd have right over hers.
So she's a gold digger!
Well, with a kingdom like ours, what succubus wouldn't want to marry us for it?
It all made sense. She wanted them so she could finally take over an opposing kingdom. She knew that despite her powers, she wouldn't be able to fight against their father, so she had to find another way in. That manipulative... Before I can continue, I felt my head suddenly get heavy and dizzy. I gripped my head, mewling under my breath. What the...
I took too much. I'm so sorry.
Rest now. There's no need to do anything more today.
The boys suddenly rushed over and helped me lay me back down as my vision was painted in white polka dots. I needed to sleep badly. Instantly, I closed my eyes and let darkness consume me. After what seemed like hours, I finally woke up, slightly refreshed. My body knew that if I slept any longer, I'd be up all night, which was not part of the plan for the day. I rubbed my eyes and sat up, letting a soft groan escape my lips. In response, something beside my bed shuffled, causing me to look over. I didn't know what I was expecting. Beside me, sitting in a chair beside the bed, was Sam, rousing himself up to see me awake. I smiled at him, seeing his slightly ruffled hair and tired eyes.
Oh, you're awake. How do you feel?
Better. Sam nodded before he looked down at the bed, leaning over it to stare at the blanket.
I'm such an idiot. If I was stronger, you wouldn't be like this.
Sam, it's not your fault.
No, it's my fault. It's our fault. Look at you. You're in bed again, after us using our powers again, and you're a target again because of us.
Again.
We never should have come.
Again! I quickly reached over and put my finger on his lips, stopping him from going any further. I didn't want to hear anymore. Sam, it's okay. I wanted to help you out. I offered to let you all stay. Nothing is your fault. I gently moved my hand and cupped Sam's cheek, staring at him with concern. I didn't want him to hold guilt in his mind about this whole ordeal. Diana was desperate and she'd hunt anyone for them. It wasn't his fault she was desperate enough to hunt them down. Sam looked at me, defeated by my hand, before he closed his eyes and let out a sigh. However, I grew curious. Never mind. So, Sam, you're a noble. Sam opened his eyes to look at me. He didn't seem angry, but he had a coldness in his voice as he spoke.
I was a noble. I'm not a noble anymore.
Not anymore.
I was the third son of the Demon Lord. My brothers and I lived together in the castle as nobility. But since James was the oldest, James became royalty and was heir to the throne. The whole situation became one gigantic boring mess. So we all grouped together and left to come here. Once that happened, we surely lost the chance to ever get forgiveness.
What was it like while you were there?
Like I said, one gigantic boring mess. Eric, Matthew, and I were as replacements in case James fucked up. Since Eric was before me and since my dad was a dickbag, I wasn't ever likely to get the throne. So I spent my days lazying about and not giving two shits about anything. Not even my mom could control me.
Your mom?
Yeah, she's not like my asshole of a dad. She was actually caring and kind, but was a pushover.
Sam let out a small laugh. I could tell he was getting nostalgic.
She always thought I could be more than I was, but my dad definitely made sure I knew my place. In response, I became the rebel son, hanging out with the commoner demons and such just to piss my dad off. I swear, I'm surprised he didn't kill me out of shame.
That's horrible. Sam stared at me as if I had slapped him. He then sighed and ruffled my hair a bit.
Don't even worry about it. You need rest. You don't need to know about the demon world.
But I want to know more about you. Sam stared at me once again as if I had slapped him. I couldn't tell whether I was pissing him off or intrigued. He let his hand that was ruffling my hair fall down the strands of my hair, stopping at my cheek to cradle it. For a strong man, Sam knew how to be soft. Sam let out a sigh before unlinking his dog tag from his neck and putting it around mine.
I'm warning you, my past is boring.
Sam wrapped his fingers gingerly around the dog tag, and I watched as green mist began to slow around his hand and the dog tag. The green aura wrapped around the necklace until it snaked around my head, and before I knew it, I was surrounded by green light. When the light subsided, I was back in the main hall of the demon castle. I looked around, feeling unable to move, but I could practically see everything as clear as I had before.
Bring that back!
My head shot towards the sudden exclamation, where I saw Sam rush into the hall with quite a large basket of bread.
No chance in hell, creepo!
Sam then did what I ever saw in TV shows or movies. He stomped his foot onto the ground, causing a large boulder to burst out from it, before he kicked it towards the entrance where he had come from. I could only stare as the boulder didn't demolish the door it was flying towards, only skidded to a stop, blocking the entrance.
That was easy.
Would you use Live 2D for the characters when you make the game? I would consider it heavily. Very much. I would consider it heavily. Sam then turned into the hall, looking around as he walked towards the throne. He took a small roll of bread and stuffed it into his mouth, only able to cover half of it as he stared at the seat. I was surprised. Why did Sam steal bread? Why would he steal bread? He was a rebel, yes, but he was a noble. He wouldn't get in trouble for taking food, but he had a basket of bread! Sam chewed and swallowed the bread he started consuming inside.
Fucking asshole piece of shit parent.
At least you have your folks.
Backer character. Again, can't do more with him.
Who the fuck is that?
I turned to see another demon step out from behind the pillars towards Sam. Sam smirked at him and tossed him the basket of bread.
Think that's enough for you and your brother?
More than enough. This means a lot, man.
Don't mention it, Gaku.
Gaku smiled and held out a hand to Sam, who took it and shook it.
We owe you for this.
You don't owe me jack shit. Now get going before you get caught.
Gaku nodded. However, Gaku quickly got out a dog tag from his trench coat and held it out for Sam. Sam stared before reaching out and taking it.
What is this?
A gift. A human world trinket. I know you and your brothers have been interested in it. Maybe this might bring you closer to it.
Sam stared before looking down at the gift. It was glimmering silver, almost entrancing Sam's gaze. As Sam looked back up, Gaku had lifted off the ground and flew out an open window to an almost sickly purple sky.
The human world.
Sounds like
Sam looked back down at the trinket before wrapping it in green magic.
Like I can get any closer.
Sam tossed the trinket into the air, letting it vanish into an unknown oblivion. I smiled a bit at the sight, knowing the future of that. What surprised me was seeing a green orb floating towards Sam, wrapped in a purple-like aura. Sam didn't even turn around, but spoke as if he knew.
What do you want, Mom?
Mom? How was that orb his mother? The orb simply floated in place as Sam turned to it with an almost angry glare.
Yes, I stole that bread and gave it to the commoner, all right? Don't judge me.
Once again, Sam was not responded to, at least from not from what I had heard. Sam clicked his teeth and crossed his arms, peeved.
Don't worry, Aladdin.
Whatever.
Don't worry, Jean Valjean. The orb then floated over to Sam and lightly brushed his cheek before flying off, disappearing into the air. Sam sighed, rolling his shoulders.
I need to get out of here.
He looked like he had a lot on his mind, but his closed mouth wouldn't let him express it. However, none could question his irritation. Sam eventually stopped the magic, taking the dog tag off of me and holding it in his hands before looking to me.
What did I tell you? Boring.
You helped that demon get food.
I was a rebel breaking rules. We're not supposed to care for common demons. We're supposed to let them die out if they don't have the ability to take care of themselves.
Sam gritted his teeth and let out an aggravated sigh.
Whatever. I'm not there anymore. I'm here.
Sam.
Look, I'm sorry.
I stared, my mind going blank. What was he apologizing for? Sam stared down at the blankets again.
You've done a lot for me and my brothers. Sheltering us, letting us continue to live here. It may not seem like much, but for us, it means everything. Especially after everything that's happened to you with that hellspawn Malix and Diana being crazy. I don't think we'll ever be able to repay you for what you've done.
Are we gonna ask questions about the mommy? I mean, you could. I watched in speechless silence as Sam lifted his head, his eyes full of almost hopelessness.
Thank you.
No. And that's on purpose. Sam lowered his head and gently, almost as if I was fragile, placed his hand over my hand. His hand over my hand. I couldn't help but feel my heart squeeze within my chest at the sight. He truly cared. Sam let out a small smile before looking to me, removing his hand from mine.
Now get some sleep. You still need rest. We'll wake you up when dinner is done.
Sam gently pressed me back down onto the bed, resolved in what had happened. I'm going to steal a kissy and mwah. I couldn't let him leave without doing something. I quickly pulled Sam down to me, lifted my head and gently kissed him, softly laying a hand on his cheek to keep his face close. Sam stared in deep surprise before hesitantly kissing me back, pressing my cheek and slightly melting at the touch of our lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he pulled, I could write so much better than this! Ugh. He gently licked his lips before making me go red in the face with a simple gesture. He let out a satisfied sigh before running a hand through my hair.
Sleep, doofus.
And with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing into the mattress.
God damn it.
Every fucking time. And you literally mimicked every other motherfucker who heard that laugh. As soon as it... Oh, god damn it. Why? What? Diana's a bitch. It's fine. I suddenly tensed up.
I mean, unless I'm wrong, isn't she basically an antagonist now?
In essence, yes. I felt majorly... But I'm glad you're getting into it, and now you reacted like that. That makes me happy that you reacted like that. I felt majorly uneasy. Something wasn't right. I felt it in my core. She must be here.
Nah, really?
Bruh. The thought of her in the house infuriated me beyond belief. I had to make sure she was not here. I rolled out of bed and quickly left my room, wandering the halls and listening closely. She was a demon. I was listening very intently. There was no way she would have been able to sneak up on me. I know you're here. Where are you?
You are.
I can't feel myself growl. It wasn't a matter of fear that she'd take away the boys anymore. Her very existence had lit a fire of rage within my gut, which only grew as each day went by. This feud was getting on my nerves, and I knew it would not end well for one of us. I wasn't going to lose to that demon bitch.
What the fuck do you want?
My heart stopped. Diana was with Sam. My mind flew into slow motion, playing fake images of Diana trying to seduce Sam in my head to further fan the angry flame within me! I instinctively followed Sam's voice. I was approaching the grand lobby. I hid myself behind the corner of the hall, peeking into the space and down at the scene. I peeked inside to see Sam by the foot of the stairs with Diana sitting on the railing looking at him.
My, such a brute. Didn't your mother teach you how to treat a woman?
She isn't here, and frankly, you shouldn't be either.
I'm hurt. Wounded, truly.
Like I care, you crazy bitch.
Pity. And here I thought I was going to offer you the chance to become something better than just a simple incubus.
What was Diana talking about? More than just an incubus. She was insane.
Like you got anything I care about.
How about becoming the next demon lord?
I froze. What did she mean? Becoming the next demon lord? The boys weren't in the demon world anymore. They had no claim to the throne anymore.
Unless they killed everyone.
Sam stared at Diana, which made me worried.
You're bluffing.
Well, currently, I'm the contracted bride to the heir to the throne. Since the throne is open, it's available to any son of the Demon Lord's line. Think about it. You'll gain the throne, the land, and a bride to continue your lineage with. Doesn't that sound like a perfect life for an incubus like you?
I could feel myself gripping my fist tightly in anger. How dare this girl try to convince Sam to return to the demon world? He ran away from it. He didn't have to go back. He shouldn't go back. My mind began to wander, imagining him saying yes. He would leave and the brothers would follow and bring him back. followed to bring him back. They'd be trapped because Diana would make sure that they could never leave. Sam would be the new demon lord with Diana as his queen, and I'd lose him.
You must be crazier than I thought.
Oh. I'll be your king even though I'm a girl. There are many here who would say, yes, queen.
What?
I felt surprise run down my body again. Did I hear something correctly? He denied her?
You dare deny?
All of a sudden, Sam's body disappeared as well as Diana's.
Flat out.
I blinked and saw Sam grip Diana by the neck, pinning her body to the wall near the dining room archway. Her feet couldn't even touch the floor, and I felt myself unconsciously rub my neck at the sight.
For once in your life, shut your fucking mouth!
I could see Sam's muscles tense and flex at holding Diana, wanting to tense even harder to snap her neck.
You do not scare me. I could bring you to your knees and make you beg to return with me on a chain leash.
Then do it! I want to see you try to chain me!
Sam glared at Diana as Diana stared, almost in fear of him. I can read. I expected her to actually do it. However, after a small breath of a moment, Sam smirked.
Called it.
Then, MKU, what the fuck? Sam then released Diana, letting her body fall to the floor. Diana gripped her neck, coughing for air as Sam stepped back, glaring at her.
You're out of power. You've been running without recharging, and now you're on your last life.
Shut up!
Diana glared and stood up, flipping her hair back to its almost unnaturally sexy style.
What's stopping you from taking your little human's energy?
You go anywhere near her again, and I will rip you apart.
The human girl? You must be joking. A human like her can't possibly provide you what you need. She's a human. You're a demon.
Have you lost your senses completely? He's a human. You're a mermaid. I felt the urge to storm and shut her mouth. It would give away my position, but I was growing extremely tired of Diana. I'ma set this bitch straight. I decided to be assertive and quickly stepped into the room, rushing down the steps to be in front of Sam. Diana and Sam looked at me in surprise as they glared daggers at Diana. I can write better than this. Get out.
Well, well, little human. You're awfully nosy in business that doesn't concern you.
It does concern me.
I'm the main character,
Does it?
goddammit.
Right?
I don't think a human would
Literally.
understand the importance of this affair.
You're asking him to leave to be someone he doesn't want to be. That's not going to happen.
Oh? And what makes you so sure about that?
I love him. Diana stared in shock and exclamation. Was it not what she expected? I didn't care what she expected. I wasn't going to lose the man I had grown to love.
You love him?
Yes. I love him.
What you gonna
do? Diana's lips twitched, the edges curling into an amused smirk as she stared at me.
So what? A human's love isn't enough to understand the situation. A demon can never reciprocate human feeling.
To both of our surprise, however, Sam stepped forward and put an arm around me, pulling me close to his body.
I love her.
I saw the confidence Diana had shatter in her eyes as she stared at Sam at his words. I could see the struggle in her face try and find some weakness in Sam. And me. Anything. Also, I saw what was going on in the chat. Michaela, why'd she go after Sam, the taken man, when there are 4 other boys that she could possibly have taken? Did you play Seduce Me Too? Did you play Seduce Me Too and have Diana as your trainer?
No.
Did you play Seduce Me Too and have Diana as your trainer?
No.
Then I guess you better figure that out real quick. Because I gave you the answer.
A demon love a human? Impossible.
I've seen weirder shit. One time I saw a guy getting on with a robot. It's kind of weird.
Are you deaf? I said I love her. You don't have the brains to understand what love is. It's not just a human emotion. Demons like us can feel it too. You just have your head so far up your ass that you refuse to see it. Just like how you refuse to see that you've lost.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right now, all I can in my head is, I want to know what love is.
Diana took a step back, physically feeling the sting of Sam's words in her chest. She had lost. I could see it in her eyes. Diana's eyes grew dull as she glared at me and Sam. It seemed almost uncharacteristic of her, yet it was something I wasn't surprised to see come from her face.
Very well. Fine. Valet.
With that, Diana faded into the ground into a purple pentagram, crossing her arms and looking almost upset. Sam and I were then left alone, left with the silence of the room. I finally let out the air I was unconsciously holding to my chest, relaxing from the ordeal. Sam stepped to me and held me gently, surprising me.
You alright?
I nodded in response, unable to speak so immediately after being surprised. Sam let out a sigh, relaxing in the embrace. I gently placed my hands around him, returning the embrace slightly. I could hear Sam's heartbeat. He held me close in his arms. I felt safe beyond words. Thank you for defending.
There's no way I'd let her hurt the one I love.
I looked up at Sam, surprised at what he said. Sam blushed, moving a strand of my hair from my face to look down at me.
I'm an asshole, yeah. Do I deserve to like you? No. I don't deserve to be holding you now, but... I love you, okay? I love you.
I stared wide-eyed, blushing like a maniac. Was this real? No way. This couldn't be real. Was Sam confessing his love for me? Sam gently caressed my cheek, staring into my eyes with a loving, almost hopeful expression. The warmth of his hand invited me to nuzzle into it, and I closed my eyes. This wasn't a dream. My heart was pounding to the point where I was sure Sam could hear it. Sam gently leaned in, closing his eyes. He stopped, however, remaining just a mere torturous inch away from my lips. He wanted me to show my feelings for him. He had left himself open for me to kiss him, or leave him in.
So, if Mika issues this, she'll get her energy?
Yes. It's not like... and here's the thing with the incubi, succubi, anyone who's a demon of love. Sexual energy comes from physical touch. And sexual energy is not like, oh, we have sex, that's your energy. It's literally, I drink this Coke. The pleasure of that nice feeling of wild cherry Pepsi going down my throat is pleasure and sexual energy. So, that's why demons of Lilith could still get sexual energy from Arrow Ace people. A lot of people actually ask me that, like, how do you get sexual energy from Arrow Ace people? Because sexual energy is not, we do the hanky-panky and we turn ourselves about. It is literally the feeling of pleasure. It could be the feeling of pleasure of drinking a can of soda. It could be the pleasure of playing your favorite video game. It's pleasure, a generic sense of pleasure that makes the energy. It's not the sexual shit that makes sexual energy. Sexual is more of just that carnal desire being fulfilled. Carnal desire of eating a fuck ton of your favorite food and going, oh yes, that's so good, oh my god. Yes, that's the energy that they want. So it's the pleasure, the feeling. So pleasure is considered sexual in that nature. So, but yeah, so when Sam and Mika, for example, if they literally tap fingers, E.T. style, then they could still get sexual energy pass through them and all that stuff. Can you give sexual energy handholding? Correct. Yeah, not even Arrow Ace people are safe from incubi and succubi.
They'll find a way.
Huh?
They'll find a way.
They'll find a way. I mean, you could learn holy magic and demon repelling magic. Sam gently leaned in, closing his eyes. The power I had was unbelievable. We're going to eat him. Eat.
I had a feeling. Power!
Power! I loved him and wanted to give him exactly what he wanted. I gently leaned in, letting my lips finally touch his gingerly. Gingerly? Sam let out almost a surprised gasp against my lips before wrapping both of his arms around my waist, pulling me close to him. I moved my arms up and around his neck, feeling the kiss between us deep into a heated height. My chest was pounding, making me feel safe as I feel fireworks and I see fireworks in my mind. I can read! Sam was everything I desired. He was the man I wanted, demon or not. Where's the hold on! Relax! It was also supernatural to fall in love with someone so quickly. Maybe it was the sense of magic I was thrown into. Maybe it was Cupid playing with my heart. Quit playing games with my heart. Either way, I found myself melting at the thought of him being with me. I found myself combing my fingers through Sam's hair, making the man holding me softly tremble at my touch. He gently nibbled my lower lip, asking me to deepen the kiss between us even further. I easily teased him before finally opening my mouth slightly for him. His tongue gently danced with mine as one of his hands slid up my back and cradled my head. He gently leaned my body back, making me cling to him as the heat of our kiss rose higher and higher. Gently, though, Sam slowed the kiss down and pulled away, staring down at me. His eyes burned for me, wanting me to melt and buckle in his arms. I could feel myself melt already. Sam opened his mouth to speak, but a very small blush ran along his cheek. He was reduced to shy silence. I stared as he tried to find the words to say in my eyes. I knew exactly what he wanted. He didn't need energy, though, right? Are you?
No, I stared
wide-eyed, feeling a blush on my cheeks grow. He didn't say anything more, but I knew what words would have followed if he continued. He wanted me. I was stunned. Was I that appealing to him? Was his passion really that deep for me? Sam gently nuzzled my forehead, losing the blush and finally being able to speak.
If you don't want to, we don't have to. I mean, it's up to you.
Spare coochie! Spare coochie! I could feel my mind go numb and purr at the idea. A moment with an incubus. He was a demon of sex, the purest form of lust and desire. My world would rock and I would enjoy every second of it. At the same time, I was indeed inexperienced. Diana wasn't wrong when she claimed me to be innocent. Did I want to give that innocence to him, especially this early? I found myself forgetting the words yes and no. What could I say to him? I knew what I wanted, but how to say it without breaking the moment. There's your seduce me accident! There you go!
Roll credits!
But, I mean...
Nope, we are children of God. Got to make room for...
I want to make this... I'm going to use this as a proving point. There are too many people that have this weird theory that if you don't have sex with the incubus, you won't get the best ending. Motherfucker. I wrote this game with the full intent of giving you the power of consent. If you don't want the sex, they're not going to be mad at you. I'm not punishing you for not having sex with them. That is stupid. Please do not assume you have to have sex with a demon in order to have the best ending. I literally wrote in the beginning of Seduce Me 2, you do not have to have sex with the boy.
Now I'm making it awesome.
Love now. And here's the thing, guys. We're on Twitch right now. So as much as all of you would like to do the hanky-panky spanky-spanky with Mr. Handlebars here, I'm about to prove to every motherfucker who continues to say that you have to have sex to get the best ending that you're fucking wrong, because I'm the game developer!
And if you really want some fucking action going on, and I'm talking about the whole meat slapping and clapping, buy the goddamn game!
So hold me. I wasn't ready, but I still wanted to give him the love he wanted. Holding me close was all I needed. All I wanted. Part of me grew fearful of what Sam would think. Would he hate me? Would he regret giving me his love? So many stories ended when sex wasn't given, and I didn't want the story to end. Sam, however, smiled and caressed my cheek happily in response. Nodding in understanding, I could tell that he was okay with my decision, which made my heart flutter in joy. Sam gently leaned in and kissed my lips once again, wanting both of us to cool down from our passionate high. I kissed back sweetly. Is that you don't need to smash? Yeah, you don't need to smash to get the best endings! Feeling the heat in my chest die out peacefully. Sam pulled away slowly, looking into my eyes to reveal a deep love that haunted his irises. So I'm wondering, anyone who claims that you have to have sex to get the best ending, you obviously missed something. You missed a point. Each of them has a full point. So if you missed a point, then obviously you're not going to get the best ending, because you fucking missed a point! Duh! But yes, so.
Alright, let's get you back to bed.
Sam then wrapped an arm around my shoulders and lowered his other arm underneath my knees. I easily held onto him as he lifted me up like a blushing bride and carried me out of the room towards my room. Sam was kind enough to know my limits, and I trusted him to respect my choice. He wouldn't enthrall me to go against my wishes, nor would he force himself on me. He was perfect. Sam gently lowered me to my bed before petting my head with a loving smile. I was beaming in happiness. I didn't want it to end. As Sam turned to leave, I quickly grabbed his arm. Wait. Sam froze and looked back at me, awaiting my next command. He was going to obey no matter what I said, but he was anticipating what I was going to ask. I could see it in his eyes. However, I just wanted him to be with me a little longer. I didn't want to rest alone. Hold me. I repeated my words, holding another meaning to those two words. Was he okay with what I wanted? It was so close to what he asked for, but it wasn't going beyond what I desired. Sam took in my words and smiled, nodding before turning back to me and sliding into bed with me. I was surprised, but I happily melted into Sam's arms as they wrapped themselves around my body. I rested my head against Sam's chest, enjoying the warmth it provided as I closed my eyes. He truly loved me as I loved him. My rest with him was as peaceful as it could be. Best sleep I had in days. When I opened my eyes, I felt Sam still holding me, but he had fallen asleep. His sleeping face made me giggle softly, but the reality of the situation made my heart flutter. I couldn't believe it. I was lying next to a man I had grown to love with all of my heart. His warm embrace made me feel safe as the tender moment we shared replayed in my head. I couldn't help but smile and snuggle into his chest further. Unconsciously, he held me tighter to his body, giving me more of his warmth. Thank you for the subscription, Mr. Sky! I didn't want to move, but then my core suddenly tightened and made me sit up without waking the man next to me. I felt my legs move and bring me to my balcony window, where I opened the glass and stepped out into the patio. I stared wide-eyed at Diana, who sat cross-legged on the railing of my balcony with her glowing red-eyed stare upon me. I opened my mouth to object, but Diana stopped.
Before you get all huffy, I didn't come here to take your precious man away.
Love mouth!
I will admit, though, I'm shocked that you didn't give your innocence to him. We demons are the best lovers, you know.
I glared. What do you want, Diana?
Well, I just wanted to see how you truly feel. You know, without him around to influence you.
What are you talking about?
I'm giving you an opportunity to come clean about these feelings of yours, and to give you your salvation.
What was Diana up to? This was beyond crazy. Nothing she had done made sense. Why was I alive at this rate? What's keeping you from just killing me and taking them?
You are not worth my time.
Not worth your time? What are you, afraid something might happen? All at once, I felt my body being lifted into the air and moved over past the railings, leaving me with nothing but the ground below to threaten me with a collision death.
Oh, trust me, dear. I'm not afraid to kill you. I can drop you right now and leave your body to rot until the morning, when the boys would find you.
I wanted to speak, but the thought of her letting go and letting me fall to my death scared my voice into silence. Diana then chuckled and willed my body back to the balcony, setting me down gently.
Alas, if I kill you, then the boys would never come with me willingly back to the demon world, and then I'd have to chase them all around the world, or kill them and drag them back. But then their father wouldn't be happy, and blah blah blah. Too much work.
I just realized, in the context of you're talking to yourself.
Correct. Diana seemed very business-oriented, as if the boys were cargo more than men. It irked me, but she then smiled.
I'm giving you one chance to denounce your love for the demon in your bed, and let me take him and the other boys back to the demon world.
And why, may I ask, would I do that?
There are so many reasons why, actually. There's the reason that he's a demon and you're a human, so you two can never truly have a happily ever after. Then there's the reason that demons truly do not know how to love, despite what he may proclaim. The list goes on and on. The point is, if you give me the boys, I will promise you eternal happiness.
Eternal happiness?
That's right. I have the power to give you anything you desire. Power, men, women, money, fame. Name it, and it's yours. A demon never goes back on their word, and I have the power to obtain anything you wish. Our deal is our contract.
I could only stare in shock. This was a dream. It had to be. However, Diana smiled, an almost genuine smile at me, shaking me from to the reality of the situation. She would never smile like that.
Don't you wish to be free of your destiny? Your father constantly berating you to become the next CEO of your grandfather's company.
I feel like we've been here. Have we been here before?
How did you... I was almost floored and surprised. How did Diana know all of this? She was a succubus, yes, but how could she know anything beyond sexual desire? She wasn't Damien. Please seduce me too and have Diana as your trainer. Diana chuckled and leaned back against her arms.
Just because I play with hearts and sex doesn't mean I don't know my way around the human mind. You happen to be an open book of information, but I digress.
Why does Diana say that demons do not know how to love? Please seduce me. 2. Go through Diana's route. Not Diana's route. Not just Diana's route, but also have Sarah as your trainer. You'll learn.
I can give you your freedom with ease. It'll be like you were always meant to have it. All I ask is that you hand over the boys. What do you say?
Was I seriously being given this choice? The man I loved for anything I wanted? A demon like Diana was powerful enough, yes, but I didn't even want to consider giving up the man I loved. Nope. She must have been crazier than I thought. I glared. Absolutely not. Diana sighed and stood up onto the railing. What I wasn't expecting her was her lifting me into the air. I tried to scream and my voice suddenly became locked in silence. What was Diana doing? Diana made me float over to her and she smirked as we touched noses.
Well, if I can't return home with the boys, I might as well return home with the power to fight back.
Diana finally leaned in and kissed me. I shut my eyes, feeling the need to bite her lips, but finding no muscles in my face listening to my mental commands. What did she do to me? I didn't want to enjoy it, but every single nerve in my body was flaring in excitement and pleasure as she kissed me. I felt my energy drain slowly, but forcefully from my body. Was she using her magic to force energy out of my body? It seemed like forever, but finally Diana pulled away from the kiss with a smile and a lick of her lips. She lowered me back onto the patio and chuckled. For some reason, even though nothing seemed to have changed, she looked stronger, powerful. It was almost like looking at a new Diana. Diana then stepped back off the railing, making me catch my breath in my throat. As she took another step away from me, she looked to simply be walking on the night air. Diana smirked in my sudden surprise.
May you never regret your choice, human. If you do, I'll happily come and take it away.
With a flick of her hair, Diana turned and walked away into the night, fading into the darkness like a shadow. I watched her fade away before looking back to the man in my bed. Did I make the right choice? My heart gave a gentle thump, giving me my answer. I did. I will never regret it for as long as I live. I walked back inside and gently crawled back into bed within the embrace of the safest arms I knew. I snuggled close to the warmth before closing my eyes. I was happy. The rest of the story can almost be passed over. With Diana gone, my life returned to normal with school and my friends not remembering what had happened. It was as if magic never even appeared in my world. One thing was for certain, however. Sam loved me and I loved him just as much. We had promised our lives to each other, and nothing was going to take that away from us, not even time itself. Our love was so powerful, it practically overwhelmed me with joy every time I found him holding me close every morning. To think, a demon in love with a human like me. It was unthinkable, unbelievable. It was practically impossible. But it was true. The other boys decided to leave on their own accord. They knew my future would only need Sam at my side, so they each decided to start their own lives in the human world. Sam understood completely, wishing his brothers the best. Besides, Sam had someone new to care for now. His brothers didn't need to worry about him now that he was caring for me. I felt bad as well, being closer to Sam than the others, but they assured me that I was okay, and that they would remain nearby should I ever need them. I was happy for that. They made me promise, however, that I would love Sam for as long as we lived. That promise was instantly given. But what of my future? Well, it was kind of made for me. Before I graduated, James decided to step into the light of the Anderson Toys Company, and, with the help of his demon powers and leadership charisma, he managed to influence not only the entire board, but my father as well, into letting him run for CEO. I was beyond shocked. How James managed to do all that was beyond me. But when the vote was called, James had taken over the company I was destined to have. He vowed to respect the wishes of the late CEO and help the company become an even grander company. For a demon, it was as simple to make a company grand. My grandfather would have been proud to see how James helped shine. With the CEO position filled, my father had no choice but to let me decide my future, which made me happy beyond compare. No longer would I have the future scaring me into a corner. I could choose my life on my own. That being said, I was still scared where the future was going to take me. What did I want to do? Did I want to help James build a company? Did I want to venture off on my own? Sam reassured me he would support me and help me through whatever I decided to do. I was grateful and would never forget that promise. I was happy and nothing could shake me down from that happiness. One afternoon, a good couple of years after the boys had met, I had a moment to myself, so I wandered my house and took in all that happened as if it was a dream. The demons, the devils, the magic. It was all surreal to believe. It almost frightened me to think that this could have all been a dream. But the warm feeling in my heart reminded me that it was all real. The demons, the magic, the love I had, all real. I smiled as I held my hands to my chest, relishing in the feelings dancing within my soul. I let out a happy sigh before looking up and seeing where I had wandered to. I realized that I was standing in the hallway near my bedroom. I guess I didn't wander far.
Jeez, how the hell did I end up here?
I stopped at the sound of Sam's voice. It sounded distant, yet he was clear as day. I looked around and laid my sight on an open window. He must have been on the roof again. I tiptoed and listened further, wanting to know what he meant.
It's been years and I still can't believe I'm here. To think I wanted to leave in the first place. I'm such an idiot.
Thank you, Lily, for the shout-out. Sending loves you. Thank you so much, sweetheart, and thank you for the message. I smiled. I quickly remembered when we had first met. It was my first kiss, after all.
And I, of course, had the worst first impression ever. Why the hell did I do that?
I stifled my giggles. He was thinking of the kiss, too. It was adorable to hear him reminiscing and mentally slapping himself.
Meh. I guess I can't take back the past. I can only make sure she gets what she deserves from now on.
Huh? I didn't understand. He already gave me everything I wanted. It was practically mine already. What more could he give me?
Alright, Sam. No more fuck-ups. I'll call up James and learn how to be a proper man. I need to be strong enough to support her no matter what comes our way.
I could not believe what I was hearing. Sam was willing to change for me? I felt both honored and guilty. I didn't want him to change. I loved him for him, no one else. I quickly went to the window and stepped up to grab the rooftop. Thank God I had upper body strength. My sudden hand placement scared Sam.
What the?
Help me up, Sam! Sam looked down at me in surprise before grabbing my arms and lifting me up to the roof with him. However, I landed once again in his lap with his arms around.
What the hell are you doing? And how long were you there?
Long enough to hear everything, Sam. I don't want you to change. Sam stared and looked lost at what to say at my words. I caressed his cheek with a smile. It was true, though. He had faults, sure, but who didn't? I enjoyed his company and adored every part of his personality. Sam moved his head and buried his face in my palm, closing his eyes and absorbing what I had said. He gently opened his eyes partially, staring past my hand.
You do realize that I'm a brute, right? That was my nickname in the Abyssal Plains. I'm a brute. A monster. I'm not what someone can really want.
Sam. Sam finally looked at me, a look of hopelessness in his eyes. You're what I want. You're not a brute, and you're not a monster. I gently guided Sam's face down with my hand and kissed him softly, reminding him of my touch and reaffirming my words. He stared at me as if his greatest wish had come true. I fought back, a giggle at the sight. Sam gently pulled me to him, hugging me to his chest. I nuzzled into Sam's chest, hearing his gentle heartbeat and memorizing his tempo.
You've chained the monster deep inside this sick and sinful body of mine.
Thanks, Alejandro. You know the song? Sam chuckled softly at the sound of his laughter, sending happy waves down my spine. Sam smiled down at me and kissed the top of my head.
It's your ringtone, doofus. I've practically memorized it.
I smiled and giggled up at Sam. It was adorable to see him like this. I then felt bold and straightened up to tower Sam a little.
Hey, what are you...
I simply smiled before kissing Sam's forehead, then very gently over his eyelids. I love you, Sam. Sam held me and closed his eyes. I could tell he didn't want to let me go.
I love you too.
I didn't want to wake up if this indeed was a dream. I felt light as a feather, not ever wanting to ever let go of this man in my arms. There was no words that could describe my emotions within me. I felt joy, happiness, ecstatic, high all at once. Here I was, holding the man I would be with forever under the beautiful orange sky on the roof of my mansion. I have gained the heart of a demon. No, of a man I love. I vowed to cherish him and love him for the remainder of my days and beyond. Could a demon love a human forever? I knew Sam would. And that was my happily ever after. That's right, bitches. You don't need to do the spanky, spanky, hanky, panky to get the true end. But yeah, this is the true end. Ta-da! We finished Seduce, we won! And Sam's acceptance! Ta-da! Hey there!